Good afternoon, good day, VC. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. It's been almost 3 weeks since I received that amazing VCLT package, and completely unexpectedly had 12 records in it from 4 different people. It blew me away. As you could probably tell by the video, I didn't know what a lot of it was. I said I would kind of revisit it all and come back with like a bit of a video on the records I really liked, my thoughts on them, stuff like that. So this is what this is. I've had the flu for about a week, so I'm coming off the back of that. So sorry if I sound a bit sniffly. Yeah, it's getting into autumn now. I'm looking outside now and it's raining and cold. Got a cup of tea. I'm going to put something on in the background. And what that is, it's called stereoscopic sound waves by Tomorrowland on the Dala Records label from 1997. It's a really nice ambient / drone kind of record. I'll let it kind of go on in the background. Hopefully it's not too domineering over me speaking. I won't do any sound clips of the records that have been sent to me, just because I want to keep this video as short as possible, as there's quite a few records to get through, and I have a tendency to ramble quite a bit, as you probably know by now. But yeah, I'll get into it. So first I'm going to start with the record sent to me by the wonderful Chris Cole. Thank you again, Chris. As many of you probably know, Chris has this amazing, crazy talent of knowing exactly what it is you like about a certain genre of music, and he can send you something very specific that you will really like, which is an amazing talent. I've seen him do it, over the years, send records to people all across the VC, and he's just got a way of getting something. He just knows what you don't have and what you would like. And he seems to nail it. He's definitely sent me stuff before in the past too, that have become really important records to me. Things that I didn't know about but ended up, absolutely loving. So yeah, he's a very astute person. I can see that he knows he can understand what people like in certain types of music and what they need. It's an amazing talent to have. So he sent me stuff in the past. I actually pulled out a couple of them because I wanted to show. This was what Chris sent me years ago. It was in the Shrink, a copy of Andrew Hill Compulsion, and at the time I was just getting into Andrew Hill, and I remember that was really important to me. So this is still something that I listen to all the time. I think it's an absolutely fantastic record. And in the Shrink, he also sent me this years ago as well, a wonderful album, Bass Culture by Linton Kwesi Johnson. Anyway, I thought I would show those first because the first thing he sent me also in the Shrink. So Chris, you've obviously got a stash of in the Shrink records. So I'm just turning the volume down there a little bit. Is this wonderful record here. Now, I had not heard this record. I've seen the cover. I'd known of it. It had been on my list if I ever saw it pop up. This is from 1977 on ECM. This is Egberto Gismonti. I'm going to butcher the description, but it is Danza das Cabezas. I'm really sorry for mispronouncing that. Featuring Nano Vasconcelos and Egberto Gismonti. This is a beautiful record. Two amazingly talented musicians, and it's very hard to describe what this is, but it sounds like a modern classical, not maybe like chamber jazz, modern classical with kind of like Latin and Brazilian elements slightly in it. It's really interesting, 8-string guitar, piano, wood flutes, voice, percussion, berimbau. yeah, really, really interesting, really unique. There's so much depth on this. I'm going to be able to spin this over and over and really sink my teeth into it. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. It's really, really interesting. It does kind of have like a classical feeling to it. I really like Brazilian music. I'm really sort of getting into some of the more modern classical or experimental things, and this kind of sits right in there. So this is, yeah, a really, really interesting one for me. So thank you, Chris. This one made me smile because when I opened it, I had no idea what it was, and I remember trying to find clues in the video, and I thought to myself, this has to be a Scandinavian jazz record on ECM. You know, I was thinking it probably has, you know, some of those Scandi ECM guys. You know, I expected to see Jan Gabarek or Bobo Stenson on here, just because I thought Iceberg looks like it could be that kind of thing. But I was surprised to open it up and see it's actually a Spanish record. And then I learned it was a live record, and it's a jazz fusion prog live record. So it was absolutely not what I was expecting at all. The band is called Iceberg, and this is on direct, which I assume is a hint to it being a live recording. And I really, really liked this one. I had no idea what to expect. I put it on, and straight away I could see these guys could really, really play. And the thing that got me is the really, really funky guitar playing. There's like a wah-wah pedal. It has like a funky sound to it, but it's basically like a jazz fusion-y kind of record. But they're so tight playing live. I really like this. So I have been I've listened to a little bit of their full albums on YouTube, but it's not affecting me as much as it was when I heard this. So yeah, really, really fantastic. So what I was expecting when I read that it was kind of a Spanish fusion thing, I thought it was going to be kind of more like this record here. And it's not like that at all. The next one, I didn't know anything about this either at the time, but I remember looking at the back and seeing it was on a label called Cubico, and that rang quite a few bells in my head, but I couldn't figure out why I knew the name Cubico. Anyway, I've now looked it up and remembered that these albums are why I know that label name. Lots of really, really important and impressive albums put out on that label. I also remember talking to a friend about this label years ago and how they put out lots of really unusual and ornate releases of lesser known artists. There is actually an amazing record that I really want to track down, recorded in Wellington, and it's with Mike Cooper on lap steel guitar and a bunch of local Wellington musicians who I see play here all the time in different variations. So I was kind of blown away to realize that existed. So that's kind of high on my want list, just to hear what that is. This is a really wonderful record by Perry Robinson and Maruga Booker. And this came out in 2008. I would say this is like a spiritual jazz record, but it's really focused around the amazing percussion work of Maruga Booker. I really, really enjoyed this. Perry Robinson kind of plays clarinet in parts, and there's some whistle parts, but mainly this is a focus on 2 side long tracks. There's different layers of percussion. There's a bit of synthesizer in here. Really sort of brooding and powerful music. I really like this one. So thank you again, Chris. You've kind of set me off on a journey with Cubico, and kind of there's a lot of stuff there that I don't know about, and that stuff never makes it to this part of the world. So you've kind of set me off on a different journey. You know, I like to think I'm kind of pretty far into a free jazz and experimental jazz journey, but this is taking me off in like a whole new direction. Yeah, so 2008. Thank you. Two more from Chris. This one, I didn't know anything about this. I could tell it looked quite modern. This is Jirka Kluge's Deep Jazz The Meeting. It's a German jazz record from 2012 on Perfect Toy Records, limited to 500 copies. I don't know why you have this or what, like, I was very surprised that this would be something that you would have or keep. What I'll say is, I really think this guy here, he's a fantastic bass player. I really liked the whole band and the whole feeling of the recording. It's definitely a modal jazz record with some spiritual elements in it. Definitely influenced by some of the classic Blue Note stuff. But there's some other instrumentation here. There's quite a few horns, a harp, a bass clarinet. They do a really, really cool version of Little Sunflower by Freddie Hubbard. The only thing that I don't like particularly is the jazz vocals on here. And there is two ladies on here doing jazz vocals over the top of the music. And they're just very jazzy. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's very hard to describe. But yeah, I can't help but get distracted by the vocals and the lyrics, and you know, behind it there's some really cool stuff going on, but yeah, the vocals kind of don't do it for me as much as I want them to. So that's that one. Yeah, very cool. I mean, it also sounds amazing. It's an amazing sounding recording. I need to figure out who this guy is, and yeah, he's a really great bass player. Okay, this last one is the first record I think I opened. This is Gerry Hemingway, drummer, with Jay Hoggard, obviously great on xylophone and vibes, Anthony Davis, legend, Mark Helios, whose name I knew but I'm not sure from where, and Wes Brown on Ghanaian flute. I really like this record. The first side has a bit of a, I'm not going to say a lighter tone, but there's definitely African thumb piano, percussion. The sidelong track really moves through a piece. I really, really like it. The second side is more free jazzy, kind of has a very like ominous atmosphere. I actually pulled out this record here because if you know this record here, it sort of has a dark, ominous vibe to it. Like I got that on the second side of this too. Really, really interesting record, really good record. Obviously a lot of people don't know about it, or I don't think I've ever seen, probably Chris has talked about this record in the past, I would say. Really, really interesting. Yeah, I immediately really liked side A, and side B I'm working my way through. Very cool, very interesting. Absolutely going to be in my collection for a long time. So thank you, Chris. I'm going to take a break and have some tea because my throat is killing me. All right, back to continue on with the rest of the records. We will start with the two records Alex sent me. And the first one I'm going to put on in the background, which is this John Fahey record here from 1973 on Tacoma. So this thing is in amazing, amazing condition for what it is. I was not familiar with this John Fahey record. I may have seen it online before, but I don't particularly remember anything about it. I didn't have much to say at the time. But wow, what a record this thing is. It's basically three really long tracks. You know, side two taking up the whole of the second side. Now, I have a handful of John Fahey records, and they're all mainly sort of shorter pieces of music, you know, multiple tracks on each side. And I generally gravitate towards things like Robbie Basho and longer form pieces of music. So to be able to hear John Fahey really, really stretch out, and being, you know, in 1973 where he was, this absolutely blew me away. You know, I put it on, listened to the whole thing through, and had a really special experience listening to this one. Fare Forward, Voyages, Soldier's Choice. Definitely some sort of like, yeah, spiritual influence or some sort of Eastern influence. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Alex. I didn't know this particular John Fahey album, and now I do. So yeah, really, really wonderful. The second one is the album that kicked off this whole package. Yeah, really, really happy to get this. It had been on my list for so long. I mentioned in a previous video that I have a strong memory of not getting a copy back in 2010 when it came out, and kind of regretting it ever since. And now I have a copy, and it's a treasure copy because it's been sent to me by a friend. This is a wonderful, wonderful, I guess you would say it's a jazz record on folkways. The main instruments are vibraphone, soprano sax, and Korean reed. But what makes this interesting is all the percussion is from guest artists, and each track they play a different type of percussion, and that adds a different flavor to each piece. So you've got like a Turkish drum on one, conga drums on another one, African twin gongs. Yeah, really, really interesting. I think this is an absolutely fantastic record. If you don't know it, please do check it out. This had been on my list for so long. Very happy to get it. So thank you again, Alex. Cool. So those are those ones. We'll move on to the two from Dom. I think when Dom picked this one out, he'd just watched my Latin and salsa video I put out, and he sent me this, which I had no idea about this person here, Emilio Aparicio Moog. This is so cool, so interesting. Basically just kind of like trippy Moog with like a Guatemalan feel to it. This is a compilation on Discodelic Records. Obviously these things are impossible to find in their form. Lovely, lovely insert, which I admittedly have not read yet. But yeah, super cool, super funky. Promo for the band there. Lovely note from Dom. Yeah, there's a little hype sticker here I was going to try and read out. Psychedelic underground, mind-expanding electronic and Moog sounds from Guatemala, 1970 to 1974. Yeah, this is great. I haven't been confident enough to play it out yet at a DJ set, but I probably will at some point. Yeah, really interesting. My partner came in and said, is this like video game music or something? So thank you, Dom. The next one he sent me was kind of threw me a little bit, because I thought to myself, oh, Ron Carter's CTA record. I would have seen this record before and probably never looked into it too much. I'm not a huge CTI fan. There's a couple that I do really like. You know, this is obviously mine that I've had for a long time now. Freddie Hubbard Red Clay, absolutely fantastic record. Killer lineup: Joe Henderson, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, and Lenny White. This one obviously features Ron Carter and Joe Henderson on it. This weirdly has kind of grown on me. At first I was like, oh, this is a very safe jazz record, very clean. But a track called the 117 Special on here has this really kind of laid back backbeat groove to it that really grew on me. And then I kind of found myself putting this on quite a bit. I think it's going to keep growing on me, actually. Honestly, one that I would never have looked at twice, if I'm being honest. But I'm really glad that you sent it to me, because I actually kind of really dig it. Yeah, check out the track 117 Special. last ones from Thijs over at SoundofMinder. Definitely some of the most interesting and unexpected ones. Yeah, I'm really glad he sent me these because they've definitely been a journey. I don't even know where to start with them. So I'm going to start with this one because I remember going, what the hell is this here? This is French Paddleboat is the artist, and the album is called Rome Loves Tan. There was nothing I could get out of gauging what this would be like until I put it on. Recorded in 1997, but it almost sounds like it could have come out in the early 2000s. You said it was kind of ultimately not for you, but thankfully it is for me. I really enjoyed this. And it's hard to explain what it is. It reminds me of something that probably could have come out on like something like Thrill Jockey or Tortoise related, but not really. Yeah, really interesting. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but please check it out. I'm going to put a sound clip in because I can't do it justice. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping this. I think this is really interesting. This one here is, the band is called Esmeline, and they are on Constellation Records, obviously of Godspeed You Black Emperor fame. Now, 2 members of this band are in Godspeed You Black Emperor, and it basically sounds like the more subdued, atmospheric sides of Godspeed. You know, this almost feels like a soundtrack work or something like that. Really beautiful, haunting. Comes with this like really amazing artwork in it. Ultimately, it probably doesn't do it for me either. It kind of just sounds. It sounds definitely in parts like Godspeed in atmosphere, but doesn't really build up or go anywhere. Yeah, initially very beautiful. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. Sounds wonderful pressing, wonderful recording. Very nice to listen to. I'll say that about that one. I'm saving the craziest one for last. This thing here. Dicky Landry, a structure of Lawrence Weiner with music by Dicky Landry. Obviously, I had no idea what this was. I do have 2 other Dicky Landry records that I picked up, the Unseen Worlds reissue of, so I thought I knew what I was getting into with this. And so I've listened to this 3 times now. So the first time I listened to it without looking up anything about it, or didn't look up any of the intentions behind the music, or you know what the concept was behind it. And I spent the first side going, what the hell is this? Is the music going to change? What are they trying to do? And then I couldn't resist, and I went and looked up the concept behind what this is. And I read a bit online about it, and I went back a second time and listened to it. And I really enjoyed it. And I got it, I understood it. I won't explain the concept in here. You kind of have to listen to it for yourself. But if you don't mind lots of voices in different languages and repeating phrases, yeah, it's definitely worth listening. So I really liked it, and I thought to myself, this is brilliant. I'm keeping this, definitely. And then I had a mate over at my house on Saturday night, and we were having a bit of a listening session, and he was going through my inbox, and he said, what's this? So I thought, you know what, we're just going to put it on. And by that point, we'd had a few beers, and we were chatting away, and it was really hard to take it seriously when you're with a mate and we're drinking a few beers. And that kind of endeared it to me even more. We ended up kind of laughing at how outlandish it is and how highbrow of a statement it is. But I really liked it. I really like this. It's kind of so out there, but if you can grasp what it is, it's very rewarding. Having been built on sand, and then the other pieces with another basis, in fact. Having been built on sand. Yeah, if you know this, you'll know what I'm talking about. So thank you again for sending me this. Again, something that I didn't know, and it's just opened my mind. Absolutely fantastic. You know, my only similar reference point to something that I have would be, see if I can grab it, the Robert Ashley record with the yellow cover. Yeah, anyway. There we go. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you for sending me the records. I did say it came at a really, really good time for me mentally, just because I've been on this crazy job search. I've had a couple of interviews that seem initially quite promising, so fingers crossed on that. Yeah, that's all really. I've got one more part of the 10 records worth a listen series, the South American bit, and I have treated myself to a couple of records recently, so I may shoot a video on that too. So yeah, again, thank you guys. Love you all. I will hang out with you in real life at some point. It will happen. Thank you again. Bye.